morning. Hi, everybody. My name is Michelle Thomas. I'm a medical intuitive, energy healer, psychic, and transformational coach with Radiant Living and radiantlivinghlc.com. Welcome to Tip Tuesday. Hello, everybody. I hope, especially all the people in the United States, I hope you had a fantastic, hopefully long weekend. Um, yeah, it's going to be a good one. Today we're chatting Akashic Records. So drop me a comment if you're here. We're going to go ahead and get started. But yeah, it's going to be a good topic today. So I hope everybody's doing fantastic out there. And again, if you happen to be watching this on the replay, please let me know. And also, don't forget to click on that notifications tab where you want to receive notifications when I go live so that you won't miss any of these because lots of useful information, as well as if you have a suggestion for a topic that you'd love me to cover on Tip Tuesday, let me know. Drop me a comment here. I'd love to know, or give me a DM because, again, I am trying to give you guys the information that you want and possibly need. So if you have a suggestion, I'm happy to take it and hopefully deliver a future Tip Tuesday on the topic that maybe you're looking for. So let's get started. So, hi, everybody. Today's Tip Tuesday. We are talking Akashic Records. So, it's funny because Akashic Records, some people may know what they are, some people may not. But the Akashic Records is really, it's also called the Book of Life, right? And it's essentially a metaphysical library, right, that contains every record of every thought, idea, and action, not only from the past, but in the present time and the future across time and space and dimension, very string theory, and lifetimes, right? So this Akashic record, right? Every person on the planet has an Akashic record, as well as animals have them and buildings have them, and it's a record of our history. It's a record of everything that's ever happened to our soul, um, not only right now, but across dimensions and time and space and lifetimes. It's very powerful when you start to learn how to access this amazing tool to gain clarity and wisdom. And when you work with someone, especially a professional Akashic record reader, they can actually also go in there and clear cords and release and let go of soul contracts that aren't serving you anymore. So it's an amazing tool, very powerful to work in. It's also very sacred, right? It is not something to be sort of trifled with and to be like, oh, this is fun. Right? This is fun. It can be fun, but it's also something that's very sacred and should be taken very seriously. And so, like I said, the Akashic records really exist across dimensions because it's not limited by our human idea of time. It contains information, again, across universes and dimensions that are all coexisting together. And it's not only a record of what will happen, has happened, and is happening right now, because the future is malleable, right? The future, it depends on your choices that you make on what's going to come into your life in the future. So it can show us things as a possibility if we stay on the same sort of direction that we're going in by making the choices that we need to make to accept and receive that future iteration of ourselves, right? But it's very malleable, right? It is not definitely, it's not like a uh, fortune teller, right? Because it all depends on the choices that we make every single day. And we have free will, right? So just because it shows us something doesn't mean that it actually has to happen, right? We have free will. We get to make choices, people. Choices. But it can definitely give you an idea of where you're headed based on the trajectory that you're on right now. And so it's really powerful stuff. And there's records for you, your relationships, every, again, dwelling that you've lived in. And it's kind of called the universe's like supercomputer, right? Because it stores all the information for everyone who's ever lived on the earth. It's powerful stuff. And it can really help us to gain clarity and wisdom. And it really does have the ability to lead us to transform our lives, allowing us to feel more empowered to shift what might be holding us back, right? It's the Akashic records are really very fascinating to tap into. And you can use this resource whenever you want regarding just about any imaginable topic that maybe you have. Any questions, thoughts, like anything that you're wondering about, right? By tapping in and learning how to use it, you can really gain a lot of clarity and it can really help you move forward in your life. There are some limitations, caveat. There's some limitations, right, when it comes to your Akashic records, is you can only tap into your own, right? And it must be self-focused, right? So it's really about learning more about how you can grow, right? You can learn how to become an Akashic record reader, where you can tap in and learn how to tap into other people's, but you need their express permission, right? You cannot tap into other people's like records without their permission. You can't, right? And same goes for children, right? If you have children, you're like, "Ooh, I want to like wonder what my kids are going to be doing when they're like," you can't do that. And kids do not have the capability to give you permission until they're like 18, right? So you can always tap in to figure out what is your relationship with your child. You can tap in and go, how am I here to help serve and allow them to grow and nurture them? You can tap into all of that information, but it has to be very self focused on what you need to do. Right, in order to help your children, things like that. So it has to be very self focused. But again, you can't tap into other people's. You can even tap into your animals, to be honest. But again, you need their permission so you can talk to their higher selves, to find out whether or not they are going to give you permission to access theirs. But it's really a really interesting way to find out more information about yourself, your past lives. It's really cool. You can tap into your past lives. You can figure out your relationships and like why you have relationships with perhaps like your ex-spouse or your parents or your siblings, right? You can figure out like how it all weaves together and what it means for you. And so, again, when you're working with these records, it's really important that you ask open ended questions. Spirit does not like yes or no because not everything is black and white, right? So, being sure that you ask what, how, when, those kinds of questions instead of something that's just like, is this black or white? Yes or no, right? Spirit doesn't like black and white. Um, and so, like I said, you can only tap into your own unless you get express permission from others. And I would recommend that you don't just start like fiddling around with other people. Like it's it. I took a class and to learn how to do it. But so don't just be like, I can totally access anybody as long as they give me permission. It's better to sort of learn and take some classes around it in order to make sure you're doing it in a respectful manner as well as doing it I don't want to say proper way, but to really like learn how to do it correctly with respect. And it's again, it is a sacred book. So it's not something that you just fiddle around with and be like, oh, this is so cool. So my tip for today, right, is how can you tune into your Akashic records, right? So you can do this through meditation. You can go into like a trance-like state. You can work with other people's, again, Akashic record readers. And if it's a, and here's the thing, if you're one of those people who's just like, I never see anything, I don't get any information in my meditations, all this stuff, you may want to go to an Akashic record reader to start, right? Anybody can do it. You all know this. You're all intuitive. Everybody can tap into this when you need to. But again, if you're sort of one of those people that's the negative Nancy, that's just like, I can't do it, I can't see anything, blah, 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 whatever. First, you need to stop that. But second, again, working with an Akashic record reader is an amazing thing. I've had my Akashic records read a couple of times, and I learned how to do it myself. I took a class. Again, my soul's growth, right? I want to learn how to do a lot of different things, right? I want a lot of tools in my tool belt. And so I took an amazing class to learn how to tap into my records as well as to tap into other people's records. I would not call myself a professional Akashic record reader, only because I have a passion for other things. So it's not something that I currently offer. But again, if you are looking to learn how to do this in a more prescribed way, I teach it in my class. We go through a meditation. We go through like there's an opening prayer that we do. And so I do teach it in my masterclass, Divine Healing and Ascension. If anybody's interested, DM me. It's one of the weeks that we work on in my 10-week course. But you can access yourself, right? You need to make sure that you're going in, you're opening your book, and at the end, you're closing it. There's sort of a ceremony and an opening. Once you learn how to do it, you can do it much easier and quicker. But the very first few times, like it's a sacred process and a ritual that like I kind of go through. But there's a lot of different meditations out there. Linda Howe, who wrote extensively about accessing the Akashic records, you can use her Pillar of Light meditation to tune in, and her name is Linda how. And so she's like the four woman, she's one of the amazing people who really sort of learned how to tap into the Akashic records. So you can find her Pillar of Light meditation out on all the interwebs. There's also YouTube videos like where there's lots of meditations that will walk you through it. At the end of this, I'll post some links to a couple of my favorite YouTube videos on like meditations to help you go through it as well. I'm actually also recording a meditation for my membership group as well, tapping into the Akashic records. But again, I it's a very sacred thing, and so I do it in a certain way. There's lots of different ways to do it. There's again many people across the interwebs that have different meditations out there that you can try and try different things, right? Not everything works the same for everyone. That's again in my masterclass, I give you like lots of different tools because what works for someone may not work for you. So again, know that you can do it. You have access to it. If you want, again, if you need a recommendation for someone to, an Akashic record reader, reach out. I have a few in my back pocket. Excuse me. Um, but again, once you tune in, you can really easily tap in again and again and again. I want to give you a few tips too, as far as like when you do go in, what are some topics, right? Because sometimes, and you want to definitely have something in mind when you go in there. Um, you definitely want to have some questions lined up. I also recommend if you're going to go into the meditation or into sort of into that kind of sacred ritual that you record it. Excuse me. I usually put my phone's recorder on my chest when I'm in my meditation, and I will say what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling, so that I can easily go back and listen to it because you'll have a lot of crazy information that might come up or visuals. So you're going to want to definitely like capture it. And then I also journal around it. So when I'm done, I will write it down. I'll do some automatic writing or some journaling around the information that I received. But here's some really great topics to help you that you can find access, some guidance with when you do access your Akashic records. Past life influences on your current life. Right. A lot of us ladies, especially those who are into the metaphysical arts, who are really drawn to spirituality, a lot of our past lives, like we have witch wounds, we've been burned at the stake. We've been tortured. There's a lot of things that like we carry around with us, and a lot of people who are afraid to tap into their third eye, all of the clairs, really fully owning their gifts. Many of us have like some fear from past lives that are sitting there within us. There's also present preferences, right? Why certain places, hobbies, or other things are so interesting to you. I mean, because if all of a sudden you've been always drawn to Greece and you're like, I don't know why I've been drawn to Greece since I was like 5, chances are there might be something there. Maybe you lived there in a past life. So you can find out why you have certain preferences. I learned that because I love singing and I love music, and I tapped in to figure out, I was like, well, why do I love this so much? And I was like a musician in Athena's temple in Greece. Like it was so cool. So anyway, so you can tap in and like figure out sort of some of the things like what affected you. I was a shaman like in South America somewhere in one of my past lives, right? And so there's just a lot of different things that you can learn by accessing it. My son has a complete obsession with World War II, complete obsession with World War II. And while I can't tap into his records, like I have I have like asked them, I'm like, well, why is he so like? And they're just like, yeah, he lived through World War II, like in a past life. Yeah. So he is so fast. I mean, he's been fascinated with the World War II since he was very young, which is kind of crazy and slightly creepy sometimes when you're like, okay, you're in fourth grade. Why are you so obsessed with this? But future possibilities again, right? What is the potential if you stay on this trajectory, if you continue healing and growing and learning about whatever it is that you're passionate about, right? What does that future possibility hold for you? Professions, talents, hobbies, right? Your physical and emotional ailments, like what's happening? How can you heal them? What do you need to like work on? Financial patterns and challenges, money blocks, right? Why am I living like this? Oh, well, in a past life, you were a sharecropper and blah blah blah, and this is like how your soul is hanging on to that, and you can work through clearing all of those. Wow, when we did so relationship patterns. Why do I keep having the same pattern of relationships over and over and over again? Right? And karmic influences, causes, repetition, compensation, retribution. Like I said, but you always want to make sure you ask those open-ended questions. How did my past life affect my current life? What is affecting me right now? Right. So you need to ask questions, right? And when you go in, you have like master teachers and you have loved ones, and there's like other angels and guides that will show up and help you. You have a librarian. When I go into my Akashic records, it's a huge white vault, crazy big building. And I have this beautiful desk, and my librarian shows up and she sits and she's like, "What do you want to know?" Right. And often I'm greeted at my door before I even walk into my library. I'm greeted by like my loved ones that have passed over. I'm greeted by archangels, and they're just like, "Hey, we're here for you. Let's go. Let's go heal some stuff." Right. It's really powerful and amazing stuff. It really is. So I encourage you to look into tapping in. Again, I'm going to put some links to a couple of meditation videos that I found useful, that I really resonated with, out on YouTube. As well, you can look up Linda Howe. Her again, Pillar of Light meditation is amazing. And again, if you're interested in learning more about these things, join my masterclass, my Divine Healing and Ascension masterclass. The cart closes for my class on July 23rd. It's running from August 2nd to October 4th. And it's powerful 10 weeks of crazy good stuff. So if you are someone who is longing to learn more about how you can like let go of the anchors that are holding your ship from sailing, like DM me. I'm happy to chat with you about it because it's crazy powerful stuff, and it starts in August, and I'm so excited, and there's only a few spots left. So I'm just wanting to make sure that the people that really want this, those aha moments, those beautiful and midlife awaken moments, grab a spot. And I thank you for watching my Tip Tuesday today. I hope you found this useful. And again, if you have any kind of topics that you're interested in, please let me know. Drop me a comment. I'm happy to add that to my list for future Tip Tuesdays.